No. 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 Good boy. Hey everyone, my name is Americ and welcome to a brand new review for The Mentalist Season 6, Episode 7, titled The Great Red Dragon. Now, everyone, I haven't seen Episode 8 yet, so I don't know who Red John is, so this video is solely based on what I have seen for Episode 7. Now, before we delve into what worked and what didn't work in this episode, let's talk about the story. So after the big showdown at Jane's place, we essentially go into a manhunt between the two remaining suspects, Reed Smith and Bertram, and in the end, Reed Smith comes in and essentially confesses to being some corrupt cop. He's not really Red John, and Bertram is still on the lam. And to make this whole thing even more complicated, the CBI is disbanded by the FBI, and Jane is essentially sitting in a church and we don't know what's gonna happen. So that's the story, but what worked? The tension in this episode was ridiculously for real. Throughout the episode, I was just like so tense because I know this wasn't whole Red John reveal, but I was just wondering what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen now? When Bertram was trying to kill Jane, I was like, oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? Is this gonna be some sort of like weird twist? And when Van Pelt and Rigsby were after Reed Smith and they were getting shot, I was like, okay, that's it. That's when they die. That's when they get shot. You know, I was like so tense during this episode. It was very difficult to just relax and just take everything in. I actually had to rewatch some of these moments because I was so freaking tense and wondering what's happening. Yeah, tense. Oh, that interrogation scene. And the guy's not even giving him like verbal answers, yet Jane is getting all the answers he wants. Even the guy's like,
just get out of my head, man. Just get out of my head.
Definitely one of my favorite moments in this episode. And one thing that you cannot fault in this episode is that answers were given. Not to all the questions we wanted, but certainly a lot of answers were given. We found out what Tiger is all about, which turns out it's part of this Blake Association kind of thing. We find out how essentially RJ works with Tiger in a certain way because that's how he managed to kill that Rebecca lady. You know, the one in season 2 who shot Bosco? Essentially, RJ got to her through Tiger. So we're like wondering what's the connection here beyond that? Is he just a member? Is he their founder? Does he control Tiger? Feels like it would be his kind of thing. He's, you know, driven by that kind of organization of sorts. But yeah, a lot of answers. Now on to what didn't work in this episode. I'm adding it here because I feel like it should be talked about, but the fact that in the previous episode we had a huge just Jizbin moment, and we had this moment where these two characters, where Jane and Lisbon were like connecting, and you know, there was a whole drama of Jane leaving her behind, and they talk about it in this episode exactly 0 times. I mean, not even a line of dialogue. It felt weird. It felt weird that you wouldn't even talk about the fact, like, you left me behind, you SOB. Like, you know, that's something Lisbon would say. I know she was worried about him, but she would still say something. It didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel real. The fact they didn't talk about it was kind of annoying. Yeah. But really my biggest issue with this episode was the fact that if you really think about it, really think about it, it was a filler episode. It was a transition episode between that big explosion-driven intrigue moment and the other, hopefully, big moment where we reveal who Red John is. If you take out all the moments in which we're just following Reed Smith or following Gail Bertram and we're just seeing all these, you know, people just stumbling around the city. If you take out all those moments, you just boil it down to a 40-minute episode that's really just a 5 to 10 minute scene that's just condensed. I mean, it felt like you should have just taken the major bit of that story and added it to the Red John episode and it would have been just fine. It really felt like filler. A little bit disappointing. Which all leads me to my, I don't know if it's a WTF section anymore, or if it's more of a theory time, or if it's more of a rant time. Let's call it that. It's a WTF theory time, rant time section because I just have this thing that I want to talk about with you guys. The way it's laid out to me, there's only two potential options. It's either Bertram, and in that case, it's going to be very, very boring as a reveal because I don't think he's that compelling of a character if he's going to be Red John. I don't think it's him, but if it's him, it's going to be boring. And if it's not him, it's going to be one of the suspects who is dead, even though there's positive IDs and all that stuff. Now you're going to have to give me an explanation on why this character that's supposedly dead isn't dead. In a way that I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like what you did there. So that's actually a pretty high bar to meet. Because if it's one of those convenient storytelling devices in which, oh yeah, oh really? Is that what happened? That's how the character didn't die and faked his death? How freaking original. If it's one of those moments, that's why I'm going to be disappointed. Not so much about the reveal, but mostly because, yeah, that doesn't quite make sense. So for now, before I see the next Red John episode, I don't think it's going to be Bertram. I think it's one of the characters who died. Clearly it's not Partridge because, that body was found. So it's either going to have to be McAllister or Hafner, which I'd be fine with either of those two. I just want it to be done in a way that's plausible and that's smart because guess what? I have high expectation for this show. I really like it. I think they're really, really good storytellers and they can do it. So let's do it, guys. Let's tell a good story. That's all I had to say about this episode, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about this episode? Where do you think this is all leading? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? Comment below and let me know. And as usual, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. I promised myself I would stop dancing, but now I can't stop dancing. Whoa, whoa. Also, make sure to subscribe. I can't dance and I can't sing. I'm never gonna stop because it's super awkward. Oh my god, I don't have anything else to say. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.